I'm driving my new 2006 Porsche Cayman S. It's been a long time coming that I've been wanting a fun car of some sort to replace the 335i that I got rid of before moving down to Dallas, Texas. I just moved back from Dallas in October, so I'm back in the Northeast area. I'm living outside of Philly, and the time was right to start searching for a car. I didn't want to buy a car in Dallas and have a very small car when I knew I would be moving back up north. So I was looking at all sorts of cars. I test drove an F10 M5, an F80 M3. The F80 M3 was fantastic. I love it. I would love to own one of those someday. I was really looking at a lot of E92 M3s and things like that, but it's hard to find those that are clean for a decent price. I didn't want to pay 30 grand for one. I wasn't really sure what I wanted, and a couple of my buddies are really into Porsches, and I have a friend that's he owns a 2011, just a normal Cayman, but he has the Dot 2, so it's the nicer interior and all that fancy stuff. Like, it's a really nice car. It wasn't my thing, but you know, I considered it. I looked around a little bit. A 911 came up. I was gonna bite the bullet on that, but again, it was just like too much money for me to feel comfortable just dumping into a car. So this Cayman appeared only about 30 minutes from where I live, and has catless headers, Fab Speed X-Pipe, X51 oil pan, so under hard G's, the oil stays on the engine, short throw shifter, GT3 brakes in the front, has the sport steering wheel, the sport chrono package, the nav system and Bose audio, and I have a mountain of maintenance receipts and all of these, like, in a giant folder of all this stuff that the owners have done in the past. So I bit the bullet. I got the car for a really good price, and I love it. I test drove it. I just had a blast driving it. It's ridiculously fast, dyno 300 wheel horsepower. When you rev it all the way up to redline, like, what is it, about close to a little over 7,000, I guess, is what I can see on the tach. I don't actually know the information, but it's just such an amazing feeling to drive this car. Completely different from the Mustang or the 335i, as you would expect, right? I mean, obviously, very different car, but it's just so different on a level that I wouldn't expect. This car feels extremely dialed. Taking it around turns, you have full confidence. I have nowhere near pushed the limits of it, and I know taking exit ramps or entrance ramps onto highways, if I push it a little bit, right, I can hug the turn really well, or taking windy roads. This car, you can just have full confidence that it's going to stay glued, and it just does such a good job of that. The Mustang, forget it. If I pushed it even a little bit sideways, it was sliding, or, you know, understeering. It was kicking out the back end. And the 335 is just more a luxury car than it was a sports car, at least in stock form, and that's what mine was. Fantastic car. I missed the 335 more than anything. But this is just such a great car. I really, really am enjoying it a lot. It's been a pleasure to own for the past few weeks that I've had it so far. So with that said, I do have some first impression thoughts I'm happy to share. So I'll go ahead and start that now. All right, so one of the first things, I'll talk about the size of the car. Obviously, it's a very small vehicle, right? That's no surprise to anyone. It's a two-seater, definitely smaller than the 911, and it's the mid-engine configuration that Porsche offers. The 911 is a rear engine for those who might not be familiar. This car is a mid-engine layout. So that said, driving it, it feels like you're wearing the car. Like, it's that. I've never driven a car that's quite this small, but I think a lot of that also ties into the handling of the vehicle. So when you have a car that's planted and it feels really good through sweepers and it's small, it just feels like you're one with the vehicle. Really, I mean, it sounds corny, it sounds cliche to say, but to get that kind of feeling out of a car that's, what is it, like 14 years old or so, that's a really good thing. To get that kind of feeling and also have it in a Porsche, I mean, it's just great. So it's pretty loud too, so I'm not getting on it too much, but that's just pretty casual driving, nothing crazy. So back to the size. So it does feel like you're putting a Cayman on and you're just enveloped in it. You're just wearing it and driving it at the same time. It's a really unique feeling, but at the same time, I'm 6'3". I have plenty of headroom. I still have more room to move the seat back, move the seat lower if I wanted to. So it's really a unique thing that Porsche has been able to do that and create such a small vehicle that creates, I don't know, it's very much like a dichotomy, I guess, if you will. It feels really small, it feels really like well balanced, and at the same time, I don't really feel claustrophobic in here. The roof line is definitely very low. The windshield is pretty low and the windows are low, so that's really the only part of claustrophobicness I guess you could get out of it. But if you're a big person and you haven't driven one of these, and you have the opportunity to, definitely recommend it. And I think you'll be pretty surprised to find that it's really, I mean, it's small, but it's not, you're not like, oh man, this is crammed and I'm uncomfortable. They did a really good job. I think, you know, hats off to the Porsche designers for making a really everyday friendly vehicle, and at the same time have it be just such a fantastic driving car. So another thing that I really think I should point out that I sort of owe the Cayman credit on that I didn't give it credit for. Obviously this car is has like ECU tune and some engine modifications as well to make it produce 300 wheel horsepower, so this is not a stock vehicle, but it feels just so fast. Like this is a car you can very easily break the speed limit in. The Mustang was very similar, right? But I didn't really feel stable or secure doing that. The confidence that this car gives you sort of enables you to just want to speed in it and just drive fast. And you really have to be aware of that, but I think that's pretty amazing that the car, like, when you look at the numbers on paper, power figures aren't really too crazy. And even this car being souped up, 300 wheel is nothing too crazy, especially by modern standards, but it's a really lightweight car and it's very small. So that 300 wheel translates very well for this vehicle. So it's just so easy. And, you know, in combination with the high revs, right, of course you want to sweep it out. And it just, it's just so addicting to just wind through the gears, and very quickly it's like, all right, wait, I gotta be careful here because I don't want to get pulled over or ticketed or, you know, have something bad happen basically. So that's pretty obvious. I think most people that are buying these cars are not young people or teenagers who are just gonna speed in them and wrap them around trees or do stupid things in them. But it's just something to point out. I mean, the car is just such, it really hauls for what it is. It's so impressive, it just blows my mind. And I always figured the Cayman was the slow, like, baby Porsche. You know, they get ragged on a lot for not being a real Porsche or whatever, especially by the 911 owners and snobs like that. But this thing will whoop so many cars out there and just do it in a great way. Obviously, it's not going to stand up next to a boosted, you know, LS car or something like that. But if you want to do, you know, some straight line pulls and have fun, this thing definitely takes off. And if you're putting up this car next to something else on the track or through a windy road, this will just eat it alive because it'll just take it like nothing. That was a really pleasant surprise when I bought this car, and when I test drove it, it was just so much faster than I sort of envisioned it being. Again, you look at the numbers and they're not too crazy. I think stock the Cayman S makes 285 or 295 horsepower, and that's crank, but yeah, they're very, very quick cars, very quick. This is not like a slow car where you sort of floor it and you can wind out all the gears and still be at a reasonable speed. This car, you will get up to speed very quickly, and you know, you need to have a lot of open road to do that and be safe. So just something to point out. So another thing, hopefully the wind isn't too bad. The styling on this car is aged pretty well, I'd say. It definitely doesn't look brand new, but it doesn't look too old. I think a lot of people who aren't really into the world of cars, they probably think that it's a brand new car. You can tell them it's brand new and they wouldn't really know all the difference, to be quite honest. So the styling is really great. I think it's a really just very clean, simple looking car. Basically looks like a small 911, and you know, the style that Porsche has had for many years. I guess now I'll talk about how I got this car for cheap, or, you know, it's not perfect. There's plenty of rock chips and small paint things up on the front hood there. Got some scuffing down here, you know, no big deal. Tires are, you know, fairly worn. These wheels have like a coat of plasti dip on them, but I actually have I have new to me OZ Allegoritas I'm putting on possibly tonight or, you know, at some point soon. So they'll look great. pretty sure this rear spoiler is not stock, and I don't think this goes up or down anymore. You see how the window here is cracked a little bit. So when you open the door, the window goes down a little bit. Then when you shut the door, it's supposed to go back up and seal. This car does not go back up and seal. So I have new micro switches for the doors to fix that, hopefully. The previous owner told me that he had already tried doing that for the driver window. So we'll see if we can get it to work. I'll fiddle with it, but I think his channel's Eat, Sleep, Drive, and he's made a video on it before. But yeah, it has to do with there's a switch inside the door handle that sort of tells you tells the car when to drop the door down a little bit. So rock chip there, and then the LCD in the center there is actually pretty dead. It lights up a little bit, but you know, it's pretty much non-readable. The previous owner gave me an entire new gauge cluster for the car. It was out of a non-S, so I can't put it into this car and still have sport mode. I think somehow the sport mode button is connected to the gauge somehow, so I would like sport mode. So what I'm hoping to do is take the gauge cluster that he gave me and swap out the actual screen from it and put it into this one at some point. But not really a big deal to me. I would like to use it a lot, especially because this is the main one that shows your speed and everything like that. But you know, it's whatever, not really a big deal. Not really a perfect car, not flawless, but as you can see, I think I got a pretty good deal. It's really fun to drive, and assuming it holds up well, maintenance-wise and everything like that, knock on wood, then I think I got a pretty good deal, and I'm gonna have a lot of fun with it. So I'm really enjoying it so far. But yeah, here's the interior, pretty much black leather. I don't think these are the sports seats, unfortunately, but they're plenty comfortable, and shifter, short throw, so that's the travel for that. Sports steering wheel. The chrono I haven't really played with yet, or tried to be quite honest. I haven't really driven the car all too much, to be honest, either. Also, gonna make a video on this, the Peztio dash cam. It's a good cheap little dash cam. I'm gonna run it in this car and make sure, in case anything happens, God forbid, I will have it on tape. So pick yourself up one of these or wait for the review video and I'll show it off. So hope you guys enjoyed this little video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give it a like. If you like the car, subscribe. I'm gonna make plenty more videos of it. I'm gonna do a nice exhaust video. I think I'm gonna do, you know, set the camera up on a tripod, do some flybys, and do some GoPro in the car type stuff. And you guys can hear it more. So please, you know, subscribe and comment your thoughts. You know, I'm really glad to be back. I'm glad to be driving. I'm glad to have fun with cars and meet car people and do car things again. It's been a long time, it feels like, without a fun car. I'm very glad to be back in the zone. So again, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care.